Hey, how's it going? It's Sean Bradshaw from cyberfret.com, and in this lesson we're going to take a look at helping you get a handle on a basic F chord. Everybody's least favorite chord. That effing F chord. Alright, so let's take a look at a couple of things that will hopefully help you out with this dreaded chord. Alright, now I'm going to show you kind of two different hand positions, and which one you use really just depends on the situation, what chord you're coming from, where you're going to. All right, and so the first one is going to be basically where your thumb is going to be kind of lower on the back of the neck like this. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and bar my first finger across the first and the second strings with kind of the side of my first finger. So if you look here, it's like that. All right, I'm kind of tilting it to the side as opposed to coming flat on like this. And you can really, you can really only do this if your thumb is down a little bit. So that first finger is kind of falling to the side a little bit there. All right, so you're trying to keep as close to that fret bar as possible. Then second finger is going on the third string at the second fret, and then third finger is going on the fourth string at the third fret. All right, so this is kind of that first hand position to try. And again, it depends on where we're going, but key thing is take a look where my thumb is there. I'm still in really all my fingers, if you look, I'll exaggerate a little bit, they're kind of falling to the side, okay, falling to the left side of my finger. And that's kind of a general kind of chord tip, at least for basic kind of chords, is we're not necessarily coming straight on like this. You're kind of coming at a little bit of an angle like that. That way you don't have to really stretch between these fingers. It's easier to, I could even stretch further if I wanted to with my fingers kind of tilted like that. All right, and then one thing that allows me to do is I'm kind of using a smaller part of my finger by using kind of the side, and so that kind of helps in avoiding hitting the other strings. So if I'm kind of to the side, I'm using a smaller part of my finger, so I avoid kind of touching and muting out that third string, for instance, if I'm playing here on the third fret of that fourth string. All right, another kind of general hand position thing is that I want to keep this part of my palm a little bit closer to the bottom of the neck. A lot of times when I see people have trouble with basic chords in general, their hands stretched way down like this, and there's no way that you're going to be able to clear those strings and get them to sound. So what we need to do is bring this part of your hand up closer to the bottom of the neck here, and then what that allows you to do is curve your fingers in a little bit more so that you have some clearance, because you got to make sure, especially on this F chord, that you're playing the fourth string, but you're also making sure that you're not touching the third string at all, so that then this note will sound, and then this one's got to be on the tip so that these two will sound over here. All right, so lifting up your hand so it's closer to the bottom. And kind of the other thing is, and again, I have to kind of exaggerate to show you, is that you're going to kind of pull your hand around in front a little bit more. All right, so if you're playing and you're like this, I'm not hearing that third string. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull my hand in front of the guitar just a little bit more, that gives me clearance. That gives me the ability for, you know, by pulling it around like this, it's just enough to give some clearance right here for the third string to ring. You know, if this is just a general thing, is that if you're playing and you're having trouble where say your third finger keeps hitting that third string, you may want to have your guitar set up. Your strings just may be too high, or your neck may need adjusted, or you may, you know, just making sure that your guitar is set up properly is a lot of times, you know, why people have problems playing some things. So, you know, go to a local repair person and just make sure that your guitar is set up properly. All right. So this is kind of one hand position for this basic F chord. All right, and there's a lot of ways to play an F chord. This is just kind of the first one most people learn because it's down here with all these other kind of basic cowboy chords. All right, and so the next hand position I'm going to show you it breaks the rules. In general, when we're talking about playing in general, I always say really try to avoid putting your palm on the back of the neck like this. All right, so 99.99997% of the time, just really avoid taking your palm and putting it on the back of the neck. You know, the reason is that it just takes a lot more pressure most of the time to get your notes to sound, because you're kind of taking the energy and dispersing it across a wide area by using your whole palm like that. All right, and also in general, when you have your wrist bent back like this, you know, it's much harder to kind of wiggle or move your hand and move your fingers. So in general, we try to keep your wrist at a kind of neutral, or even like this a little bit on most things that we're playing on the guitar. But for this F that I'm going to show you now, we're gonna break the rules, and I'm going to tell you, take your palm and put it on the back of the guitar like this. All right, and so we've got the same notes. All right, it's just now my thumb is up. All right, and you know, a lot of times when you're playing an F chord, you know, you're coming from other chords where your thumb is up a little bit. If I'm playing a basic C chord, my thumb is up here muting out the sixth string. That way I don't have to worry about trying to just play five strings when I'm playing a C chord. So if we were trying to go to that other F I was showing you, you'd kind of have to go boom and change your whole hand position, which kind of can make F more difficult because you have to flip your hand position. So this F that I'm showing you here, where you're putting your palm on the back, kind of keeps you close to the other, the way that your hand is going to be for these other kind of chords. All right, so to go from a C chord here to an F, I'm kind of doing that. All right, so here we are. Again, same notes, and what's happening is that for the first and second strings, I'm more flattening out and using this part of my finger rather than to the side like I was before. All right, so that's just another kind of hand position to play with. And you know, if you're still really having trouble getting all four of those notes to ring, you know, if you just play the fourth, third, and second strings, and if that first string is muted, you still have an F chord. So that's kind of an easier F chord to try. But you know, it just depends on what key you're in. If you encounter a song where you need to play an F, just play around with these two different hand positions. The idea of kind of keeping in a more classical position where the thumb's down lower on the back of the neck, and you're kind of using the side of your first finger like this, and then the other one where, you know, you go ahead and keep your thumb up. In fact, I'm taking my thumb and muting out the sixth string, and you could even bring it around further and mute the fifth string as well. I think I said that backwards. Mute the sixth. I'm muting my sixth string, and I could bring my thumb around and mute the fifth string as well. All right, so hopefully that helps you with the struggle in getting this F chord to sound. Have a good one.